certainly as Sauk County goes back and forth, there's definitely a pattern of not finding quite what we're all looking for. So I think people do want change. I do think people key into simple, plain messaging.
Hi, I'm Kiesen Williams, video director at the Badger Herald. Today I'm here in Sauk County to find out what makes Sauk County a split ticket vote. In the 2024 presidential election, Tammy Baldwin won, as well as Donald Trump, making it the only county that had a split ticket outcome. Many election experts say it's because of first-time single-issue voters, the culture of Wisconsin, or even different campaign strategies. But no one really knows why Wisconsin is so purple. Today, I'm here in Sauk County to get a better look inside the purple state of Wisconsin. Let's go.
I'm Charles Franklin. I'm director of the Marquette Law School poll. I'm a political scientist. My PhD is in political science. In a weird way, we have been this incredibly close state for at least the last 24 years. If you look across all of the country, we remain pretty much the state that has been the most consistently close over this many elections. One of the things that keeps Sauk as this very competitive place is that it doesn't have a lot of really deep blue cities or deep red cities. And this year, more of them shifted in a Republican direction. I think it's good if an election can shift the outcome if the public moves just a few points in one direction, and then shift it back if the public moves a few points in the other direction. And that's exactly what we saw with 16 to 20 to 24.
We had a strong record in this county probably through the Reagan era and Governor Thompson of voting for the Republican candidate. Then there was a swing kind of the other way. And I think back in 2008, there was kind of a rebirth of the county locally, and that may have been part of it. So the Democrats and the Republicans are very active in the community. I think we all know who's who, so to speak. And so it's made it a lot more competitive.
We discuss politics with like people who like the same people I like. I have a sister who voted for Trump, and we don't discuss it. And I have wonderful friends, and we don't discuss it. I think people were dissatisfied, certainly with Biden. Old-timers like me were satisfied with Tammy Baldwin.
It's indicative of the whole country, right? So if you look at the way Sauk County split, it's a lot like how Wisconsin split, which is a lot like how the U.S. split. So it's great to see that there's a mixed ballot. It makes Wisconsin a very interesting place, and Sauk County a pretty interesting place as well. I think what gets reported on is the extremes, which is the easiest thing to sort of point out, the guy in the corner with the big flag or sign or something like that. But I think there's a lot more subtlety to it when it comes down to, what people want. Certainly as Sauk County goes back and forth, there's definitely a pattern of not finding quite what we're all looking for. So I think people do want change. I do think people key into simple, plain messaging.
The Trump voters are unique voters, they're new to politics, relatively. I mean, even though this is Trump's third crack at it, there's a lot of people within that segment that don't trust government. While they may have said, okay, and I'm saying literally, they've never voted before, they've showed up, they vote for this guy, and then they leave. They don't vote for anybody else. I think they have a hard time trusting down the ticket. And I can't tell you how many new voters I've come across over in the last 12 years that have never voted before. Even this cycle, we saw people come in that are in their 60s who've never voted, ever. One person openly admitted, I've never done this before, I need help.
One of the things that shifts in Wisconsin, given our slightly below average college graduate rate. Here you have Dane County with this very high percent of college graduates, for obvious reasons, with the university and state government and so on. You go to Sauk County, and it's got a little bit fewer college graduates than the average in the state. But if you go one more county north to Juneau County, it's got many fewer college graduates. And that actually fits with the voting pattern of the very Democratic Dane, a competitive Sauk. But then you go to Juneau, and again, that's a county that's flipped 30-something points over the last 8 years in how it votes. And that's very much in line with the lower rate of college graduates there. Now, I'm not saying that's the only thing that's driving elections, but it's part of what issues appeal to people, what things about Donald Trump appeals to people. So all of this, I think, has been going on in the state, and I think it helps us understand why Sauk is in the middle geographically and politically between Dane and Juneau, which are very far apart. Wisconsin today is this extremely polarized place where you vote for the same party for governor, senator, president, assembly, state senate, with just small variations and none of the crossover voting that we used to see. This year we got a split decision with Trump by 9/10 of a point and Baldwin by 9/10 of a point. That isn't anything like the crossover voting we used to see. And that comes partly from politicians who are much less willing to negotiate or compromise with each other. But it also comes from a public that now is so much committed to their party that they find it really hard to vote for someone based on who they are rather than their party label.
I think the majority of people go about their business in their communities. I think, I live in a community that does some pretty amazing things, and I know my neighbors may vote differently, but this is a community that comes together. Stuff gets done.
I want elections to reflect what people choose. If we believe democracy works at all, we got to believe that the voters may not always make decisions they'll never regret, but we have to be guided by those decisions that they make. And I would rather live in a place where those decisions are consequential and can tip the election one way or the other, rather than in a place that is so lopsidedly one party dominant that the elections are really a ritual that doesn't actually affect the outcome.
Wisconsin's split ticket voting is vividly seen in Sauk County, highlighting Wisconsin's role in America's political divide. From first-time voters to shifting community dynamics, the motivations here reflect broader national trends. As we look to the next presidency, the question remains, will future elections bring greater unity or deepen the divide? One thing is clear, Wisconsin will continue to play a pivotal role in shaping the nation's political future. For the Badger Herald, I'm Kiesen Williams.